Now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep fitting in love.
Yes, people, you know the vibes, you know the ties, it's G, and we are back in the building. Yes, we're finally back, man. This international football is done and dusted. I have been bored, stiff, but there's obviously been so much news going around the whole Xabi Alonso stuff, you know, in terms of him saying that he now is going to stay at Bayern Leverkusen, so he's not going to be joining Liverpool. The fairy tale will not come true, which I think, you know what, is that's a conversation for another day. But just quickly, I think even on that, when we're looking at it at face value at this current moment in time, I know things can obviously change and stuff like that, but when we're looking at it, it is a case of, you know what, maybe that was probably the best decision, you know what I mean, for Liverpool to kind of steer away from that emotional kind of stuff. You know, it's football, it's business. At the end of the day, do you know what I mean? We're trying to win, you know, even though he's a fantastic manager, by the way, but I just think the emotional side of things, I just felt like that was starting to cloud quite a lot of people's judgment. But again, things can change. We have no idea how that's gonna, you know, kind of pan out. But, you know, Ruben Amorim, Roberto De Zerbi, Nagelsmann, and, you know, Hansi Flick, there's so many different other managers out there. So let's wait and see, you know, on that one. But we're obviously here to talk about Liverpool versus Brighton back after the international break. I know that Brighton, they do have a couple of injuries. I believe Matoma is going to be out for the game from what I've seen today. So obviously that's a plus for Liverpool. You know, he's a fantastic player. He completely ripped us to shreds last season. Liverpool don't have the greatest of records in recent times against Brighton. We all remember that 3-3 draw that we had last season. This season, we obviously drew against them at their stadium as well. So in recent times, Roberto De Zerbi versus Klopp, you know what I mean? Klopp's probably come out on top in terms of the head-to-head potentially. I don't really know off the top of my head, but it's been a tough game. It's been a tough game. Now, obviously, that's in the midst of, you know, I don't even want to call it a transition last season. We were just shit. And Roberto De Zerbi coming in, he's high-flying and stuff like that. And it's funny because this game, and football is always coincidental. This game comes straight off the back of that Xabi Alonso news, and, you know, him being another one of the names that are, you know, on the shortlist for the new Liverpool manager. And I already know how this is going to pan out. If Liverpool absolutely slap Brighton 6-0, you know what? It doesn't even need to be even 6-0. If we win the game, I already know people are going to be like, this is why we can't have Roberto De Zerbi in charge, because this, and this, that, and the other, as they always do. It is what it is. You know, it's just one of those kind of things. You know, there's nothing we can realistically, you know, do about that. But ultimately, I still think he's a really good manager, really, really good manager. I should be doing a video on him in the next few days and stuff like that, just talking about him, his managerial career and stuff like that, and what we've seen from him, you know, at Brighton. And I think what we've seen, you know, we've heard Pep Guardiola, we've heard Jurgen Klopp, and, you know, other managers around, but those two specifically, we've heard those two, you know, sing his praises, you know, since he's joined Brighton. We've seen the work that he's done with Brighton, and I think what we like to do as fans, and this is all fans, what we always like to do is we like to provide context for our own arguments. But when we try to provide context for other people or for other things, or not our arguments, then that's when it's like, no, you can't do that, this, that, and the third. You know, we don't speak about, you know, Brighton losing their best players. Imagine Liverpool, you know, lost Virgil van Dijk and, I don't know, Mo Salah. How would they look this season? You know, how would Liverpool actually look without starting off a season without Virgil van Dijk and a Mo Salah? You know, I think things would look, you know, very, very different, you know, in the grand scheme of things. And I think losing McAllister, obviously, to Liverpool, losing Caicedo to Chelsea, two of their best players, especially in that pivotal position as well, in the midfield area, bro, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. Now, not to defend him, defensively this season, definitely question marks in an overall sense. But I think overall, like, in a general sense, in terms of his style of play, his style of play is really, really good. And I think it would really benefit Liverpool having someone like him as the manager. But that's the manager, talk, and that's the manager side of things. Of course, we've got to still play them, and I need us to slap them. Ultimately, as much as I've got my agenda with Roberto De Zerbi, yeah, I need Liverpool to get that convincing victory. Do you know what I mean? I need us to, especially after the international break. After international breaks, Liverpool, I know this season we've probably been all right in terms of winning games, but we don't look fluid, and I don't expect teams to be fluid after having such a big break, especially when you've been on a run of consistency in terms of games. And it'll be good for the team. I'm sure Klopp would love the fact that we've had a break and stuff like that, and that's all good. But overall, Liverpool are a momentum type of team. So when we do have these kind of breaks, yeah, we don't always look as great. But ultimately, at this point in the season, we're just looking for the W's. So let's hope that we can, of course, get that this weekend against Brighton. And with Matoma being out, one of their better players, I think they've got a couple of other injuries for the game. So again, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see the team that they put out. It's going to be interesting to see how they actually set up in this game. I always find with Roberto De Zerbi, like he is someone, and big up Curtis Jones, he is someone who will probably at times try to go to it for machine. He seems like he's one of those kind of managers, like he trusts in his, just like Klopp, just like the same thing that we laud Klopp for, that you trust in what you're doing. It's the same thing that Roberto De Zerbi does. So you will see games where they're losing, was it 4 whatever to Luton, or losing 4-0 to Roma, in those kind of games. But then we'll see other games where they're beating some of the top teams. They're playing well against some of the top teams. They're just that type of club. And I think that in a game like this, especially, coming back from the international break, I think Liverpool really need to put a marker down. Ultimately, we're not top of the league anymore. I know it's on goal difference, but we're still not top of the league, ultimately. So we do have to try and kind of just, put our foot forward, if I'm being totally honest with you. So when we are looking towards the game in itself, my predicted lineup for this game. Now, haven't listened to any news. I try to stay away unless it's like really important. So I don't know any of the team news in terms of who is really fit in terms of, Ibu Konate. I believe he is fit for the game. Obviously we know Mo Salah, as far as I know, everything's absolutely fine with him. Trent, obviously, I don't know if Trent's going to be available for this game. I think that they were talking more about the Manchester United game. Obviously we know Alisson's, of course, not really ready for this game. We know Andrew Robertson got injured on international duty. But other than that, I think when we're looking at the lineup for this game, or my own lineup, sorry, for this game, I've obviously gone with Kelleher in goal. I think that's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory, with Alisson, of course, being out. At left back, I've gone with Joe Gomez. Yep, I've gone with Joe Gomez at left back. The 2 centre backs, I've gone with Van Dijk and Kwanzaa. I think with Konate, whether he's fit or not, Konate, fantastic defender, by the way, really, really good defender. I can't trust him. He's shown throughout his time at Liverpool, he cannot really be trusted. Especially after an injury. Now I know he played for France, and that's all great. So there's nothing to suggest that he couldn't play in this game. But of course, Liverpool have got a game midweek. You could just play in that game. If I'm being totally honest, or you can play Kwanzaa again. Do you know what I mean? Kwanzaa deserves it. It's not like, it would be different if we were in a position where I felt like, like let's say Kwanzaa was Reece Williams as an example. If we were in that kind of position, that's when I'll be like, yeah, I don't know about that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe we need to rush him back, we need to do this, we need to do that. Now, and again, I'm not suggesting that you can't play Konate in this game. Then he gets, rested for the game in midweek, and then potentially can play against Manchester United. I don't really know how Klopp wants to work it, but maybe he might give them half and half against Sheffield. I have no idea. But yeah, I feel like against Brighton, I'm more than happy to play Jarell Kwanzaa. Yeah, Konate can chill, to be honest with you. Yeah, I've got really no beef. Like I said, Kwanzaa's been so good. It'll be difficult, you know what I mean, to realistically say. And like I said with Konate, I just don't really trust him. He's so difficult at times when you're someone who constantly picks up little injuries and things like that, and it could be at a pivotal time. I know you can pick up an injury at any time in training, walking down the road, walking your dog. I know he likes to watch anime. I don't know, he might mash up his fingers and that, pressing for the next episode. I don't know. But I just think for this game, you can play Konate. I'm not gonna beef anybody. I'm happy with Konate playing in the game. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Konza. I think Konza deserves it, man. Right back, I think again self-explanatory. I think Conor Bradley in there. There's not really anybody else that I would put in there. In the midfield, I've gone with obviously DM again, easy one. Endo in there. That's probably the easiest position. Him, Kelleher and Van Dijk are probably the easiest positions to think about. To be honest with you, I think they're easy to kind of slot in at this current moment in time. Right centre midfield. I'll go with Harvey Elliott. I'll go with Harvey Elliott for this one. Again, I think he deserves it. I think he's been really on form this season in a general sense when he has come off the bench, and in some games he started. I mean, that's where I feel like this will be quite important for him in a game like this, where you're starting off the game. Now, his starts versus his sub appearances, I think we can all agree that his sub appearances have been way better than his starts, but he's been okay, in some games when he has started. So yeah, I would go with Harvey Elliott in that right central midfield position. I know, of course, we could go Szoboszlai in there. Szoboszlai, I don't know, man. That guy is. I like Szoboszlai, and he was my favourite signing when we had the summer transfer window. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. We got Szoboszlai, and you know what I mean. Like, this is the player I've been watching for years. Following his career and stuff like that internationally and at club level. And I thought, right, Liverpool were actually able to sign him. All right, cool. Do you know what I mean? Let's get the party rolling. But yeah, man, he started off like a house on fire, and yeah, I just think he's just almost fallen off a cliff, if I'm being honest with you, and he's struggling to get back up again. It's like he broke an ankle or something, but he's struggling to get back up again. And I think I know people talk about his defensive work. I don't even think, like, defensively you're offering enough for me to be like, yeah, you deserve to start. I don't think he does. I think being on the bench, that'll be good for you. You're not the star boy. You're not the main man. And you need to work your way back into the team. And I almost feel like it's then disingenuous on people like Harvey Elliott if you just go straight back in for someone like Szoboszlai. That's not to say Szoboszlai starts the game, he does amazingly well. He could do that. We have no one psychic. I have no idea how that's going to pan out. But if I'm just looking at the team in a general sense, I just think that Elliott, he deserves to be there, and him being on that right central midfield position with obviously Salah on that right hand side, they've already got a kind of a relationship already. So yeah, and he's comfortable on that right wing area anyway, if he does then move into that area, whereas I don't feel Szoboszlai is that comfortable in that kind of position yet. But things may change, and I'm not going to be mad if he does play there. But I'll go with Harvey Elliott on the right. Left central midfield, obviously McAllister. Don't know the news on Curtis Jones, but even if Curtis Jones was fit, I'd still go with McAllister. Been fantastic in that in that 8 position, his actual position. So am I surprised? Not really, to be honest with you. I still think there's obviously gears that he can go up. In terms of the levels that he was at when he was at Brighton, and obviously what we saw for Argentina. But he is definitely moving in that right direction. And, since he's moved into that 8 position, you've just seen a massive difference. You've seen someone who's comfortable in that area, someone who can move around and float around the pitch, both in and out of possession. Even defensively, he looks okay in that position. But when he was in the 6th position, none of I didn't really see none of those kind of things. So, yeah, really happy for him to, go into that position. And then up front, like I said, Salah, that's non-negotiable. Up front, Gakpo's got to hit bench, so I'll go with, we ain't got no Jota, so I have to go with Nunez. And then on the left-hand side, I will go with Luis Diaz on that left-hand side. I think, I know at the beginning of the season, that was most people's favourite front three. So, yeah, that's the front three I'll go with for the game. So, yeah, that's my team. That is my team. So, Kelleher in goal. Right back, you've got Conor Bradley. 2 centre-backs, Kwanzaa and Virgil van Dijk. Left back, I've gone with Joe Gomez. Midfield 3 of Endo, Harvey Elliott and McAllister, and then up front, of course, we've got Salah, Nunes, and Diaz. Let me know what you guys think in the comments in regards, to that lineup. Any changes, anyone you want to throw in, take out, whatever. Let me know, of course, in the comment section. In terms of predicted score, tricky one, man, tricky one. My agenda wants a very narrow Liverpool victory, like a 1-0 last-minute goal, just for my Roberto De Zerbi agenda. Want Liverpool to win, but I need my agenda to agenda. You get what I'm trying to say? But if I'm being honest, I think 3-1 Liverpool. I think maybe, especially because they got a couple injuries as well, I think we'll just potentially come back, maybe just that little bit fresher, a little bit stronger as well. Playing at home, which is obviously going to be massive for us anyway. I don't really envisage Liverpool losing any more losing any home games between now and the end of the season. So yeah, I'll go with that. 3-1 to Liverpool. But if it's going to be 3-1, let it be a bit, you know what I mean? Like, don't let it be crazy where, you know what I mean, we're just all over it. I mean, 3-1 isn't even like a mad scoreline anyway, to be honest. And that's the scoreline that we were constantly having at the beginning of the season. So yeah, man. I need my Roberto De Zerbi agenda to agenda, man. There's an agenda right here. I know the Amarim fans, big up Tom Little and his army. I know they're all there, but yeah, I need that De Zerbi agenda to agenda. But we definitely need to just keep a watchful eye on Brighton and what, formation they might set up and how they may play. They could easily stifle us in the game, and they could also bop us off the park. I think they've shown that throughout their time under De Zerbi anyway. They've shown throughout their time here that they can do that easily. And it doesn't really matter what team. I've seen them bop Manchester City, maybe not off the park, but I've seen them bop them around, in games. Seen them do it to Liverpool off the park. Seen them do it to many teams, but then I've also seen them, lose heavily in games as well. So let's hope that, it's the latter at this weekend, and then we'll obviously take it from there. But guys, let me know, of course, what you think in the comment section below. Liverpool versus Brighton preview done and dusted. I'm G, and we are out.